Hello guys, this video will be talking about magnetostatics, which is the next section after electrostatics. So let's begin. So the first topic under magnetostatics is the Biot-Savart law. So this is something we have already learned in 12th grade, so this should be quite familiar to most of us. So we start with the magnetic field due to a current element, and this is given by this formula. And we can extend it to like the two-dimensional case and the three-dimensional case, and the three-dimensional case is the most important because it can be used for many other properties and formulae as well. Similar to how we discussed in electric field, we also have the divergence and curl of magnetic field, but here the roles are reversed. The divergence of the magnetic field is 0, while the curl has some source term which is mu naught times the current density, which is why the 3D case is more useful and general. So this is the different aspects of Biot-Savart law. Then we have Ampere's law, which is sort of similar to Gauss's law, and it is derived from the expression of the curl using Stokes' theorem. So we can say that the loop integral of the magnetic field around an Amperean loop will actually equal mu naught times I enclosed, where I enclosed basically refers to the total current that crosses the area of the loop. So we can use this for many applications in cases where there is symmetry, like finding the magnetic field inside a solenoid, and also a magnetic field due to a current carrying sheet. So these applications have also been seen in like 12th grade, so this is also quite familiar to most of us. Then the next topic is sort of new, and it can be kind of non-intuitive at first, but it is quite easy once we sort of deal with it. So that's the topic of magnetic vector potential. Since we know that the divergence of the magnetic field is 0, so we can actually express it as the curl of some other vector field. So that vector field is called the magnetic vector potential. Similar to how we wrote electric field as negative gradient of a potential, it's a similar idea. We can actually set the divergence of that to be 0, and with that we can actually get an equation very similar to Poisson's equation but in vector format. Then from that we can actually get an expression for the magnetic vector potential in general, which very resembles the expression we have for the electric potential. Instead of a scalar function we have a vector function, like instead of rho we have j vector instead, and everything else is very similar. And one qualitative observation one can make, which is useful in cases where there is symmetry, is that if the source, which is j vector, is along single direction, then the vector potential will also be along that direction. So this can be quite useful. Then another important property is the fact that the loop integral of the vector potential will equal the flux through that loop. So this is also a very nice property which can be used in certain problems. So we shall see that. So I'm taking few examples because it needs some usage and practice at the beginning at least, so that we can get used to it. So finding vector potential in a solenoid case, we can actually use the loop integral property. So the left hand side, we can use the fact that there is symmetry in the circumferential direction and say that it will be the same. So it will be a times 2 pi r. Then we'll have two cases depending on whether r is less than capital R or r is greater than capital R. And in a simple manner, we can get the magnetic vector potential depending on the radial distance. Now another way we can find is using the fact that the curl of the magnetic vector potential is the magnetic field, and we can use this for finding that due to a sheet. So we will assume, because of symmetry, that the a vector is a of z, because it will only vary with z and not with x and y, because there is symmetry along those directions. And we can actually use the property of curl and solve a differential equation to get this expression. So these expressions can be remembered, but I believe the technique is more important in this case. Finally, we have the last topic, which is major, which is the magnetic field boundary conditions. So it is very similar to the electric field case, but just the roles are reversed, because divergence and curl, their roles are also reversed. So we can say that the perpendicular components don't change, but there is a discontinuity in the parallel components, which is related to mu naught times the magnitude of the linear current density vector. So we can also represent it in both, like we can combine both of them and represent it as this expression as well. And similar to how electric potential was also continuous, the magnetic vector potential is also continuous at the boundary. So these are some of the main topics covered in magnetostatics. Thank you.